Chosen one? The reason people fear your presence in the spiritual realm is because you are the detective God Himself appointed to expose every theft committed against your divine inheritance. The alarms are ringing across dimensions, echoing louder than thunder, because what was once stolen from you is now being tracked, uncovered, and returned by your relentless investigative spirit. Every injustice, every manipulation, every false system built to rob you of your rightful place is collapsing under the weight of truth. Like a detective entering a crime scene, you walk through life seeing clues where others see only chaos, sensing the fingerprints of betrayal where others see coincidence. And now, the greatest spiritual heist in history, the theft of your divine inheritance, is unraveling before the eyes of heaven and hell, because your case is about to be solved once and for all. You have walked through what looked like random misfortune, but in reality, you were assembling evidence piece by piece without even realizing it. The betrayals you endured, the financial blockages, the doors slammed shut in your face, none of it was meaningless. It was all part of the elaborate setup created by shadow operatives who thought they could contain your light. They underestimated your spiritual DNA, for within you is the mind of a divine investigator capable of perceiving what human eyes cannot. Just as Scripture declares in Luke 8:17, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." Don't you? That verse was written for this moment, because your life itself is the unfolding of that promise. Every scheme meant to bury your inheritance is now exposing the very hands that carried out the theft. And right now, I want you to pause and declare your awakening in the comments. Right? Justice is from God, to seal it in the spiritual realms. Smash that like button if you know deep down that your inheritance is being returned, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the revelations that follow. Because what you are about to hear will not only open your eyes wider, it will confirm what your spirit already knows, that God chose you as the detective who no darkness can escape, and your investigation is already bringing justice into this world. Like a divine detective piecing together fragments at a crime scene, you now see the strategy behind every locked door, every sudden rejection, and every shattered plan. These were not accidents. They were carefully orchestrated moves designed to rob you of your inheritance. Yet what the enemy forgot is that chosen souls do not walk blind. You were cataloging evidence unconsciously, taking note of the subtle spiritual fingerprints that only your awakened DNA could recognize. Each trial was a hidden clue. Each betrayal was a marker pointing back to the original crime. What once looked like defeat was in truth the blueprint for your eventual vindication. You have been walking through life with supernatural perception disguised as ordinary intuition. Every flicker of a streetlight, every door that jammed at your approach, every financial application mysteriously denied was not random. It was resistance activated against you. The systems of this world were programmed to block, delay, and exhaust you. Yet while they thought they were building barriers, what they were actually doing was giving you undeniable proof. The evidence piled up higher than they could imagine, and heaven recorded it all. The Bible says in Job 12:22, "He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into the light." That is exactly what is happening now through your life. What they could not calculate was the moment when your spiritual DNA would fully activate, the moment when you would remember who you are. Within you flows the investigative power of generations before you, warriors of light who carried similar cases and solved them across time. When your destiny faced its greatest threat, your detective coding switched on, sharper than any human logic. It is the moment when all the false narratives collapse, when every lie begins to contradict itself, when every mask falls. Your case is breaking wide open, and no shadow operative can silence the truth any longer. Every relationship that fell apart in your life, every friend who turned into an enemy, every betrayal you endured was carefully engineered to distract you from following the trail of your stolen inheritance. They wanted you too broken to investigate, too weary to connect the dots. But, in their arrogance, they left evidence behind. Fake documents signed behind closed doors, stolen opportunities rerouted to imposters, conversations held in secret that now echo into exposure. These were not just setbacks. They were data points for your divine file, waiting for you to awaken to the full scope of the investigation. The banks that denied you credit even with perfect qualifications, the employers who rejected you though you exceeded every requirement, these were not random rejections. They were following hidden orders to keep you financially weak, while your stolen assets enriched unauthorized accounts. Yet, as they moved your wealth in secret, they left spiritual fingerprints at every transaction. Like Psalm 37-13 reminds us, "But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming." Their day has arrived, and their empire is crumbling under the investigation you didn't even know you were conducting. Your oppressors built labyrinths of delay, creating coincidences that seem to keep you stuck in a loop. Lease applications mysteriously blocked, investments failing against all logic, doors closing without reason, all part of their tactical plan. But here is the irony. Every no became another nail in their coffin. Every delay became another timestamp in the heavenly record. While they thought they were winning, you were being positioned. While they tried to bury you, you were gathering evidence. And now, the universe is shifting to hand back everything that was unjustly taken. They never understood that your perception was not human. It was supernatural. Where they saw confusion, you saw patterns. Where they thought they erased the evidence, you followed the energetic trail. You were never blind, you were being trained. Every locked door, every stolen opportunity, every false accusation has become undeniable proof in your case. And as the scales of justice tip in your favor, the same networks that mocked your discernment are trembling because they know the detective they feared has finally arrived to close the case. While they believed your struggles would silence you, what was actually happening was the refining of your investigative sight. Like gold tested in fire, every hardship sharpened your discernment. You were learning to see what others overlook, to hear what others ignore, to sense the vibrations left behind by deception. They thought they could hide the truth under paperwork, systems, and false testimonies. But God was training you to read between the lines of reality itself. Nothing escaped your subconscious awareness. Every rejection letter, every closed account, every unexpected denial became a clue, waiting to be pieced together in your master case file. Your spiritual X-ray vision is unlike anything the enemy could anticipate. While they cloaked themselves in shadows, you developed the ability to pierce through layers of lies. Your spiritual GPS activated at the lowest points of your journey, recalibrating your path toward the places where your blessings were hidden. Your third eye widened, not through fantasy, but through divine design, and it began showing you the maps of your stolen inheritance. The more they tried to confuse you, the clearer your perception became. Where others would give up, you pressed forward because your spirit was following coordinates only you could decode. The dreams that replayed themselves in your sleep were not imagination, chosen one. Those visions of homes with your name carved into stone foundations, the glimpses of vaults overflowing with wealth, were not random dreams. They were spiritual reconnaissance missions, guiding you to the archives where your true records are stored. You were walking through the corridors of heaven's database, being shown evidence that your inheritance still exists intact, untouched by the fraud of men. Those dreams were warnings and confirmations that what belongs to you was only delayed, never destroyed. This investigation of yours is not about money alone, though financial abundance is a certainty in your restoration. It is about justice. It is about reclaiming dignity and spiritual authority. It is about breaking a cycle of generational theft that goes far beyond this lifetime. The architects of the cosmos encoded within your DNA specific investigative abilities designed for this exact case. You were meant to rise now, at this very moment in time, to solve what no one else could. And in solving it, you set a new precedent of justice in the universe that cannot be undone. Those who pretended to be you, signing papers in your name, living in properties meant for your stewardship, redirecting streams of wealth intended for your mission, never understood what they were playing against. They thought they were stealing from a vulnerable human, but they were actually trying to rob a divine detective with codes and blueprints written in heaven's language. And because they never had your DNA, they never had the ability to hide their crimes from you forever. Sooner or later, you would awaken, and when you did, every shadow they built began to collapse. Even the technology around you testified of their sabotage. The ATMs that rejected your card, the automatic doors that stalled when you walked near, the elevators that mysteriously skipped your floor. These were not glitches. These were intentional blocks from networks that feared what would happen if you reached your destination. They attempted to stop you physically because they could not stop you spiritually. But what they failed to understand is that even broken machinery became evidence in your investigation. Nothing wasted, nothing random, everything recorded by your spirit. Every intuition, every gut feeling, every coincidence that led you to discover something hidden was not guesswork. It was divine programming. Your spirit has been operating investigative protocols far beyond physical limitations. When information disappeared from search engines, when Wi-Fi disconnected during your research, when answers seemed blocked, it was confirmation that you were too close to the truth. Suppression only revealed direction. Every closed path pointed you to another route, and your persistence kept you moving forward until the case became undeniable. You began to realize that the wisdom flowing through you was not only your own, but the inheritance of your ancestors, souls who walked through similar battles and overcame. Their memories, encoded in your very DNA, started activating, giving you methods of investigation that transcended time. It is why ideas appeared in your mind from nowhere, why sudden clarity arrived in the middle of confusion, why breakthroughs erupted when you were about to give up. It was not coincidence. It was ancestral technology awakening within you. Their victories became your compass, guiding you through the maze of deception that had been set against you. And as you pressed forward, you were never alone. Spiritual guides, angelic assistants, and divine guardians stood watch at every stage of your investigation. While the enemy tried to erase evidence, your guides preserved it in higher dimensions, waiting for you to access it when the time was right. They intervened in moments you didn't even notice, making sure that no matter how deep the shadows reached, there was always a trail of light for you to follow. Their hands left fingerprints on your path, ensuring the truth could never be fully buried. Those who told you it's impossible or you can't prove it were not just doubters. They were gatekeepers placed to discourage your pursuit of justice. Lawyers, advisors, and so-called experts who claimed there was no hope were often working in secret partnership with the networks that robbed you. But their authority has collapsed, their credibility has crumbled, because while they tried to discourage you, heaven was encouraging you. While they blocked you in earthly courts, the cosmic court was gathering every piece of evidence you supplied through your perseverance. Every fraudulent signature, every manipulated contract, every hidden record left an imprint on the fabric of reality. These karmic fingerprints could only be seen by someone carrying your unique spiritual codes. And you, chosen one, have been trained to see what cannot be seen. You can trace the ripples in the quantum field caused by deception, just like a detective notices the smallest clue left at a crime scene. These ripples were invisible to ordinary eyes, but to you, they shine like neon lights in the dark, pointing back to their source. Even your communication lines became part of the case. Phone calls that dropped at crucial moments, emails that mysteriously disappeared, documents that went missing. None of it was random. These were deliberate obstructions meant to keep you disconnected from allies and witnesses who could support your truth. But every interference was a confession in disguise. They thought they were erasing your connections, but in reality, they were leaving more evidence of the conspiracy that has now been fully exposed. The thieves believed they could hide your inheritance across dimensions, locking it behind frequency barriers they assumed you would never decode. They disguised wealth with energetic camouflage, shifted titles and deeds into places they thought were beyond reach, and rerouted streams of abundance into false identities. But their plan contained a fatal flaw. They underestimated your vision. You were born with the ability to see through veils, to follow vibrations where human eyes cannot, to track energy signatures across realities. No vault, no lock, no dimension could conceal from you what God decreed was yours. The false tax records, the fabricated credit scores, the manipulated financial reports, they were never proof of your lack. They were evidence of their fear. By suppressing your financial visibility, they revealed just how valuable your inheritance truly is. The harder they worked to make you appear insignificant, the more obvious it became that you carried greatness beyond measure. They tried to erase you on paper, but they could not erase the authority branded into your spirit. And now every falsified document is flipping into undeniable evidence of your restoration. Your investigative work has built a case so airtight that no earthly or spiritual power can overturn it. The very networks that once laughed at your misfortune now tremble, because the evidence you gathered was not of this world. It was cosmic, undeniable, eternal. Heaven's tribunal, composed of enlightened beings who maintain divine order, has been watching you from the beginning. They saw every step, every moment you pressed forward despite discouragement, every prayer whispered when you felt unseen. And now they move on your behalf, enforcing the verdict your work has already secured. Witnesses who once swore ignorance now cannot hold back the truth. In your presence, false testimony dissolves, because your very energy compels confession. People begin to recall details they swore were forgotten. Secrets burst open like cracks in a dam, and hidden meetings resurface in memory. This is not persuasion. It is divine deposition. No lie can hold up in the courtroom of your aura, because God's light within you makes deception impossible to maintain. The very ones who helped orchestrate your dispossession now reveal themselves, exposing the conspiracy with their own words. Even the assets themselves cry out for return. Properties tagged in your spirit, accounts carrying your frequency, heirlooms vibrating with your family's essence. All of them leave trails that cannot be hidden. They are magnetically pulled back into your orbit, because ownership is spiritual before it is physical. The wealth, the land, the intellectual property, the opportunities, they recognize your frequency as their rightful owner. And no fraudulent deed or manipulated account can block that gravitational pull forever. What carries your name in heaven must return to you on earth. You walked through fire believing you were being destroyed, but in truth, you were being refined into a master investigator. Every hunch you followed, despite others telling you to let it go, was logged into the cosmic record. Every suspicion you pursued, when no physical evidence was present, proved that your discernment was guided by higher intelligence. And now, the record stands. You solved the unsolvable. You cracked a case they thought could remain hidden forever. The fire did not consume you. It revealed you. Your methodology of investigation will echo for generations. Future chosen ones will study the blueprint of how you endured, how you persevered, how you connected spiritual dots across dimensions. You have set precedent in the court of heaven. The techniques encoded in your soul, intuition, persistence, vision, have now been validated as divine legal instruments. You did not just recover what was stolen, you wrote new laws in the spirit, ensuring others will never face the same theft, unprotected again. As the recovery unfolds, every layer of your inheritance begins resurfacing. The real estate that was blocked from your name, the bank accounts redirected without your consent, the creative works plagiarized and stolen, all of it is returning. Royalties, profits, and investments are flowing back. What once appeared as dead ends are now reactivating as divine highways of abundance. What was hidden in shadows is now displayed under heavenly floodlights. The thief has been caught, and the spoils of war are transferred back to the rightful heir. You. And this victory is bigger than you. It is cosmic. By solving this crime, you have shifted balance in the spiritual realms. Entire systems of injustice are collapsing because your case exposed them. Your triumph echoes like thunder through dimensions, warning every would-be thief that chosen ones cannot be permanently robbed. You are the example, the proof, the precedent. Your recovery shakes kingdoms of darkness and builds frameworks of justice for generations to come. The collapse of your enemies is no longer a prophecy. It is reality unfolding before your eyes. Those who mocked your faith and dismissed your discernment now stumble in confusion, as the very documents they forged expose their own guilt. Real estate agents who once claimed properties were unavailable suddenly face undeniable evidence that those properties carried your signature all along. Appraisers who undervalued assets are forced to admit manipulation, while bankers who concealed accounts are being cornered by the light of truth. Their empire is unraveling thread by thread, and there is no escape from the net of justice you cast with your divine investigation. Financial systems that once denied your worth now find themselves in reversal. Investments that were siphoned away under false pretenses begin to pour back into your accounts. Retirement funds depleted through unauthorized withdrawals replenish with divine interest. Insurance claims previously dismissed now resurface with overwhelming proof of fraud. Every number, every ledger, every false calculation is being rewritten by the hand of God. The universe itself testifies that what was hidden is being restored. The one who was disqualified in man's eyes is now publicly vindicated by heaven. Professional doors that were slammed in your face suddenly swing wide open. Organizations that once rejected your applications scramble to apologize for errors. Institutions that denied your education or credentials now send offers of recognition. Employers who overlooked you now compete for your presence. What they blocked for years can no longer be restrained because the truth has torn through every barrier. You are no longer the one seeking approval. You are the one whose authenticity forces acknowledgement. Their silence has ended, their excuses erased by undeniable evidence. Even cultural and social circles that excluded you are shifting. The clubs, the networks, the communities that once claimed you were unworthy now extend invitations because your rightful status can no longer be ignored. The talents they suppressed, the contributions they buried, the voice they tried to silence are rising like a trumpet blast in the spirit. Everything they hid is now displayed in undeniable brilliance. Your legacy is restored not only in wealth and possessions, but in honor and reputation. What was stolen in shadows is now celebrated in the light. The technology that once glitched in your presence now operates flawlessly, as if the systems themselves bow to your restored authority. Transportation flows without delay. Communication lines remain open. Digital platforms finally align in your favor. The interference is gone because the case has been closed. What once resisted you is now commanded to serve you. Even creation recognizes that justice has been served, responding to the verdict of heaven with alignment and harmony. The very atmosphere testifies that the chosen detective has finished the investigation. The case you have solved is not merely personal, it is archetypal. It represents the eternal truth that chosen souls cannot be permanently dispossessed. You crossed thresholds others could not even perceive, tracked wealth across dimensions unnamed by human language, and brought justice into the visible realm. You rewrote the laws of inheritance in the spirit. You proved that destiny may be delayed, but never denied, when God has stamped His authority on a life. Your work has become the template for victories yet to come. And now you stand as the living evidence of triumph. Every scar is testimony. Every tear is a line in the record. Every delay is proof that you endured long enough to see restitution. The enemy thought you would never survive the weight of injustice, but what crushed others only forged you into unbreakable steel. The investigation is complete, the inheritance restored, and the detective feared across the town of shadows has emerged victorious. This is your dominion, this is your legacy, and this is your eternal authority confirmed in heaven and manifested on earth. The restoration is not just about wealth, land, or material possessions. It is about identity. What was stolen from you was not only money, but your name, your influence, your rightful place in divine history. And now, chosen one, the restoration confirms that you were never forgotten, never forsaken, never abandoned. Heaven has declared your case victorious, and earth must now align with the decree. The scales of justice have tipped in your favor, and what was once buried is now displayed as a crown upon your head. Your enemies no longer whisper in confidence. They tremble in silence, exposed by the truth they cannot escape. This victory is the evidence that your persistence was never in vain. Every night you prayed, every moment you held on when it seemed impossible, every time you chose faith instead of despair, all of it has produced this breakthrough. You are proof that no conspiracy can outlast divine justice. You are the living declaration that what is written by God cannot be erased by man. This moment marks the closure of your greatest investigation and the dawn of a new era in your destiny. And as Isaiah 61:7 proclaims, instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. Chosen one, if you feel this victory rising in your soul, write in the comments, God is restoration to seal it in the spiritual realms. Hit that like button as a symbol of agreement, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another divine revelation. Your engagement is not just support, it is a prophetic act, declaring to the universe that you align with this word and claim your rightful inheritance without hesitation. I also want to take a moment to thank everyone who supports this channel through Buy Me a Coffee. Your love and generosity empower us to keep delivering these messages with excellence, depth, and spiritual fire. If you feel led to join this circle of supporters, the link is in description and in the pinned comment. And finally, don't stop here. Watch the video that's on your screen right now, or dive into the playlist we've prepared for you. Because your journey of awakening and empowerment continues with every word you feed your spirit. Let this victory sink deep. Let it transform how you walk. And remember, the case is closed, the inheritance is returned, and the detective feared across all dimensions is you. Until next time, stay strong, stay awake, and keep shining. Your destiny has only just begun.